Elizabeth Alexandra Mary Windsor, also known as Queen Elizabeth II, Great Britain's longest serving monarch. In Julie von Bergeson's book titled Queen Elizabeth II, she tells us about Elizabeth's early life. April 21st, 1926, in London, England, Queen Elizabeth was born to Prince Albert, the Duke of York. Queen Elizabeth also had one younger sister, Princess Margaret. At this point, Elizabeth was third in line to the throne after her father and her uncle. Elizabeth's parents wanted her to have as normal an upbringing growing up as possible. She was tutored at home with her sister. She also had a lifelong passion for raising horses and also racing horses. She was gifted her first pony at 3 years old. Elizabeth also had a great love for animals, specifically dogs, and even more specifically, corgis. She was given her first of many corgis when she was 7 years old. Lilibet, the Elizabeth's childhood nickname, loved animals so much that when she was a child, she actually vowed to marry a farmer someday so that she could spend her days with the horses, cows, and all the other animals. During Elizabeth's teenage years, the nation was at war. Elizabeth actually joined the Women's Auxiliary and she even trained as a truck driver. Her uncle abdicated the throne on December 10th, 1936, after serving only 325 days as King Edward VIII. He decided to give up his title because he wanted to marry an American woman who had been twice divorced, and this was very frowned upon at that time. So he chose to give up king to be with this woman. Because of this, Elizabeth's father became King George VI, and Elizabeth became the heir presumptive. Van Bergen also tells us how Elizabeth met her future husband Philip when she was 13 years old and Philip was 18 years old. The two corresponded through letters for several years before the romance really grew. And Philip was actually her third cousin, and he was a lieutenant in the British Royal Navy. The two married on November 20th, 1947, when Elizabeth was 21 years old. The two of them had four children together. Their first heir, Prince Charles, was born November 14th, 1948. Princess Anne, Queen Elizabeth's only daughter, was born August 15th, 1950. Prince Andrew was also born August 15th, but in 1960. And Prince Edward was born March 10th, 1964. According to Brian Stableford, the Queen succeeded to the throne after her father's death on February 6th, 1952. Her coronation didn't take place until June 2nd, 1953, however, at Westminster Abbey. The coronation was actually the first major state occasion to be broadcasted on TV at that time as well. Stapleton also tells us that the royal duties were included being the Queen of the United Kingdom, the Supreme Governor of the Church of England, and the head of Commonwealth. Irene Fuller speaks on as her being the head of the Commonwealth, one of her most important roles was her attendance at the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting. And it was at this meeting where they would promote prosperity, peace, and democracy. So, oh, and another thing that the Queen was very famous for was her yearly Christmas broadcast in England. Oh, Lester Holt reported that on September 8th, 2022, at 96 years old, the Queen passed away at her Balmoral Castle in Scotland. This was one of her favorite houses of the many properties she owned. Her Balmoral Castle was one of her most favorite. Her husband preceded her in death on April 9th, 2021, just little over a year prior to this. So her son, Prince Charles, has become King Charles III, but it is expected that his coronation won't take place until over the next couple of months sometime. Queen Elizabeth. She was the queen for over 70 years. It is said by Stableford that she is acknowledged for keeping the British monarchy intact in the face of global and media challenges. She will be remembered as somebody who was always respected, and her legacy will long live on. Thank you.